I think that any youth ministry that's going to be successful, you've got to have three primary components. And for many of you, your churches are small, less than 100 on average. Our church is about 300 people in attendance on Sunday, about 200 adults. So I understand what it's like to be in a small church and be building something from the ground up. If you want to have a successful youth ministry, I think there's three things that you critically have to have. The first thing is you have got to garner a vision. You have to have a reason. You have to have a why for showing up on Sunday mornings or for youth group night on Wednesday night, even when only 5 kids show up, or all the kids that promised you that they would be there and they don't come. You've got to know why you exist, why you're there. Do you truly believe that these students are not just the church of tomorrow, but they are the church of right now, and that God's got a purpose and a plan for their life? And I'm telling you, students are desperate for that. Students want to believe in something bigger. In fact, many of them are leaving the church in droves, not because it's not fun enough, but because there's nothing there for them. They've got no position of leadership. They have no authority. And God says, let the children come to me. And when the children come, he puts his hand on them and says, I love you. Dear little children, I have a purpose and a plan for your life, not just when you become an adult, but right now. And we've got to have that mindset when we're working with our students, that they're not just, one day when you grow up you can have some kind of responsibility, or one day when you grow up and you understand stuff better. But you've got to have a vision for reaching teenagers and the purpose that they play in the church of right this second. They're part of the body, and we have to include them in that. Anyways, your vision may be slightly different, but you've got to have a why. You have to believe in why you're there. And that goes into point number 2. If you're going to start a youth ministry, you're going to grow a youth ministry, you've got to gather a team. And you can't just gather any team. This has to be a team that's going to complement each other, work well together, and most importantly, they're going to pray together, because you need support. Even if it's just one person that you can find who can share that common vision with you, can have that passion, that fire for reaching teenagers, and you pray together, and you include each other on decisions, you come up with some creative ways to reach the community, reach those kids. I think that gathering a team is really important. You've got to know yourself well enough to know what kind of team you need. The truth is, I do not need more people like me. I'm a forward thinker. I am not a detail organized person. If we could zoom this camera back, you would see how messy my office is, because I'm not a detailed person, and I need people around me who are going to be detailed. I need other people around me who are going to they're going to put the how in the why. I focus on the why a lot. I love the why. I love the focus on the future. I love the focus on the vision. You've got to figure out who you are and how you operate, and then you've got to have a team around you that can help you get to that vision, that can see that vision happen. So you need to gather a team, and you need to pray together and lift each other up in prayer, lift the ministry in prayer, lift up each individual student in prayer, lift up every parent in prayer, lift up your pastor in prayer, lift up the deacons or whoever's in charge around your church, lift them up in prayer. And the third thing that you have to do is you got to get a strategy. So you got to garner a vision, you got to gather a team, and you've got to get a strategy. The strategy is the how. You've got the why, you know why you're there, you've gathered a team, you're praying together, but you really need to get a strategy. How are you going to accomplish this? The kids are not just going to show up. You have to ask them to come. And you have to be where they are. You have to enter into their world. So maybe that means that you're going to football games on Friday nights. Maybe that means you've got Christian clubs that you're involved in. I don't know what that looks like for you. For our church, for me, that is, we have 3 after-school Bible clubs, 2 of them at a middle school, 2 different middle schools, and 1 at a high school. And I just believe God's called us to be on campus, so that's where we are. And so anyways, that's part of our strategy. We've got a much bigger strategy. We're incarnational. We want our youth leaders to spend as much time with teenagers as possible within boundaries that we give them. We want people to share their lives with teens and invite them into something bigger than themselves, the body of Christ. So our strategy is there's more to it than that, but you've got to have a strategy. So 3 tips on building a solid youth ministry, even if you're starting from scratch, or maybe you've got something that's been going for a while, but you really want to see it kicked to the next level. You have got to garner a vision, you got to gather a team and pray together, and you've got to get a strategy. 3 critical tips for growing your youth ministry or starting from scratch.